What's up, you guys? Jason Borofka here with another video, and this one is about big swim baits. Honestly, it's just really about what I've been doing and what's changed in just this year that I've changed up. Not only it makes me feel like I can catch more fish, lose less baits, but and also get these baits into places or down deeper where I need to be. Just changing stuff up, some things I've done. One thing, we'll just start here from the front of the swim bait. This is a D-Flow 210, and as you know, I'm gonna tangle up here. As you know, like this swim bait, the Boss, and these ones they're expensive, but they're really hard to get a hold of. So if you lose one, I mean, I lost a couple of these big swim baits last year, and I was literally just about to cry because I was so sad. And this is why I lost them. I was tying direct to the front of this bait, and let me show you on this bait here, because it doesn't have a split ring on it like this one does. I was tying direct line tie, just like that. I was using a 20-pound fluorocarbon and 20-pound Seaguar. And by the way, I'm gonna show you a lot of stuff I am not associated with, so don't think I'm promoting a product. I'm just telling you guys what I've done and the truth here. Yes, I'm a Dobbins rod guy, but I do use other rods and different types of tackle and bait. So here we go. I was tying my line directly to this here, and what was happening was when this bait was moving side to side, and they have a sharp chop, all these big high-end baits, you can chop them side to side, and guys, I've been tying knots for years, so I know how to tie a knot. Okay, I've tried a couple different knots on these, and I kept running the same problem where the knot was actually slipping side to side, and I believe that it was just causing friction in that knot, and all the breakoffs I had were not on fish. It was literally, I was just casting, and then it just went pink and flew off, and I couldn't get it back. It sunk. But every one of them, I could tell the knot was loose. And then a couple times I noticed when I brought the bait in right at the boat and I was chopping it right at the boat, the knot was kind of slid over. So that was my problem. Now everybody goes, hey, well, I run mine on snap clips. Snap clips, snap clips, snap clips. I've never really been a big snap clip fan, but I am a big fan of very, very high quality split rings. This is a Owner Hyperwire split ring. I believe it's a size 4. I already filled the box up with them, and so I don't have the packaging, but it was an Owner size 4. The reason I went with a high quality split ring like Owner Hyperwire, it's probably twice as much as a normal one you just pick up at the store, was that when I pulled the split ring open and pushed it over, I mean, this D-Flow has a pretty thin loop there, but this like KGB one that I'm about to do, it's a pretty big ring. When you slide that over the split ring and screw it on, push it on there with your pliers, sometimes if you have a cheaper split ring, that split ring's a bent and it's kind of wide open, and that can cause two things. One, your line can have a better chance of getting caught in that little kink and it can fray your line, or the split ring can actually go back over and the lure come off. I mean, that probably never happened, but you never know. So that's why I went with a high quality one. Plus they're not super bright silver, and I didn't want to have a bright silver shiny thing on the front of all of these baits. I wanted to kind of just look more natural. And yeah, that's that trick there. And another reason, excuse me, another reason that I went with the split ring other than a snap clip is that I like to fish these baits and cast them really close to docks, really close to poles, along vegetation or heavy cover wood. Like this D-Flow here, it's designed to fish way back around shallow wood cover. It does go down when it's working. That's where these crazy fins, I was like, man, what is all that? But it actually, when you start working it, it dives just horizontally, just like that, and it works perfectly underwater. And then when you see a log, you can creep it up over it. But when you're coming around that type of cover, if it's a dock pole or around docks, you guys see marinas, there's moss hanging. Well, that snap clip has some kind of sharp edges on it occasionally, and it gets a little moss buildup occasionally, and I didn't really like that, so I went with the split ring. It might only happen once or twice a day, but I don't want to deal with, you know, having to pull off moss off the front when this thing bangs into a piece of wood just like that. And then there's a little sharp edge on that snap clip, and it causes it to just get dirty and catch debris. So that's that tip. And another thing is too, I started changing out hooks, all of them, to BKK spear hooks. These BKK spear hooks. I'm not associated with any of this stuff, guys. I'm just telling you the truth. This is what I've been doing. So I've been swapping them out with BKK spear hooks. They do come on some of the other baits. They come on the Clutch swim baits all have BKK, and that's what kind of got me into it. I actually messaged, just to make sure that these were BKK spear hooks, I messaged Josh at Clutch swim baits, and he messaged me right back and said yes, BKK was what they were. Super cool hook. They're so sharp. I mean, if fish gets around it, it just seems to get hooked. So, you know, I got some work to do on this one. Notice these aren't BKK hooks. I've got them weighted up, and that gets me back to the weighting them. So let's look at this Baby Boss here that I have rigged up. I'm a little tangled up here, guys. Bear with me. Actually, let's get this Boss here. It's got some weight on it. So a lot of these, you cast them out, they're great. A lot of these baits are great right out of the package. They'll sink super slow. But now that I'm using, you know, forward-facing sonar, or I'm trying to cover water real fast, I definitely put lead tape on the bottom of them. I'm getting away from wrapping the hooks as much, because I feel like when the weight is moving side to side with a wrapped hook, it kind of takes away from the action. So I want to put that lead tape directly on the bait and make it even. You kind of got to do it on the water and test it to make sure it's not falling like this or it's falling backwards. You want it to fall straight down. So if I was to be like, there was another video I put out where I just casted this bait right up in a slip. I want that bait to instantly, I don't want to wait because I'm covering water. I want it to instantly fall about 2 feet, so where the actual slip walkway, the fish underneath it, they don't see it till it gets about dead even with them or just below it. And I want to just get that in there, sink it down. Plus with lead tape, and you can buy the cheap stuff. You can go on Tackle Warehouse, or you can go to Bass Pro Shops, buy a bunch of it. It's easily to peel off, doesn't really leave any residue, and it's easy to just put on there. So if you're wasting it, it's super easy. Other than wrapping a hook, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to do that at home. And those are some tips there that I've been doing, putting the lead tape on. But again, make sure it's balanced when it's sinking. I wouldn't put lead tape on the D-Flow because this thing is perfectly built for what it's for. Gosh, I wish I had more of these, or had this thing. I love it. I love it. It's so cool. These are, I believe, BKK hooks, but it's a different shape. If they're not BKK hooks, I'm leaving these alone because they're slick coat. And these hooks, I've been throwing this around, they are not dull at all. They also have some tricked out, see, it's like a flat side, one side like that, the rest on the belly. So as it's rotating and going back and forth, there's always a hook point exposed. Other than that, BKK hooks. Another thing I've done, and again, I'm not associated with this at all, I don't have any line sponsors or anything, I'm trying out some new stuff. I bought this Sunline Big Bait FC when it first came out. I'm pretty sure it's still available, but it's sold out in a lot of places. I wanted something built for big bait. It says Big Baits on there. Sunline's a good product. I wanted a high quality. I want to pay for it, because if I'm going to be casting a bait that is $200, I want to make sure it's connected to some really high quality line. I went with the 22 pound, and I think I nailed it. It's soft enough where it's not stiff, so it doesn't affect the glide. I went with 22 pound, and I run the 22 pound now on just about every swim bait I got. I like this stuff at casts, even the inline straight through swim baits. So 22 pound Sunline. And then this year I went out and I actually invested in a new rod that I am not associated with. Like I said, I'm the Big Dobyns guy. Let me get this untangled, hold on. Okay, we're untangled here. So I wanted a, damn, that hook's sharp. So I wanted a dedicated glide bait rod built for mainly pitching around heavy cover. And I can get it done with the Dobyns Fury 95. I got old Big Bait Special rods. I got all kinds of stuff. I get it done, but I really wanted one, and I did my homework. And I didn't want to buy something that cost me 800 bucks and get it and be worried. I know this rod here, it's a Shimano Outlier rod. It's a 711 medium heavy Shimano Outlier rod. It's completely designed for swim baits, mainly glide baits. And it comes in a, let me show you. Let me just show you the size of this so you can see it in full scale. So long handle here. I think this might be a 17.5-inch handle. So you've got basically, if it's a 711, you've got almost about a 7-foot rod from about right here all the way up to the end. And it has it's pretty fast tip. But the really good thing I like about it is that if you don't know already, the shorter the rod, the more accuracy you have to put a bait. It doesn't matter if it's a jig, anything. The shorter the rod, the more accuracy you have. The longer the rod, the farther you can get it out there, right? So I wanted something short like this. This is a really cool rod. I've you know, I've had Shimano reels and stuff. I've had a couple Shimano rods in my life, but this Shimano Outlier rod is awesome. You can actually go on Tackle Warehouse. I think it's Jake was on there, was demonstrating it. Credit to him, because you know, when I watch that video, and it just looks like they're effortlessly just casting these out. And they make longer ones too, but this is my rod. Like I said, it's pretty much 7 feet up here, so that way when I'm making just short little pitches and way back in the trees, way back in the wood, around way back in the dock slips, it's super easy all day. The next thing that I did, and I wanted a high-speed 300 size reel. I use 300 size reels on all my big baits, but I didn't have a high-speed one. I basically had a 7-to-1 in the box in the cart, and then I put a 8-to-1 in the cart, and I just went with the 8-to-1. When I first got this 8-to-1 Tatula 300 series reel, I was fishing it for about 2 weeks, and I was like, dang it, it might be too much, too fast. And I'm glad that I did not get rid of it. I'm glad now that I didn't get the 7-to-1, because once I got used to this 8-to-1, it made life easy. Like, I just twitched the reel, I pitched the bait up in there, twitch it, just by using the reel handle, barely. I'm so used to it now. And then once the fish bites, it's got the power to just crank it in. You keep the line tight so the fish doesn't get off, especially around heavy cover. That's where I wanted to just pull them right out. I want to get them 3-4 feet away from that wood, because last thing you want to do is get a 7 to 10 pounder hooked up in deep cover with something like this, and it just gets wrapped up. So it's instant results. Pull. He's already coming at you, and I can concentrate more on fighting the fish versus trying to just work this big reel. So again, 8-to-1 reel, really love it. Takes a little bit of getting used to on a big bait. You know, I've got some high-speed reels for frogging and all that stuff, but on a big bait, it gets a little, it's hard. You got to get used to it, especially if you're doing the chopping motion and you're not working the rod tip to make the bait chop. So I like to use the reel to do that. Yes, so that. That's what I've been doing to all my baits. If you guys are looking for a, like for a size 7-inch, you know, I can throw a 7-inch one on this one, but the Shimano Outlier rod is really weighted perfectly for any kind of 9-inch, 8 to 10-inch resin glide bait. When it comes down to like a 7-inch resin glide bait, I'm still sticking with my old school 795B Dobyns. Man, I love this rod. It comes in at a reasonable price of about $150, $160 for the rod. And then again, a 300 size reel. This is the old 6-to-1, so I gotta do a lot of work on the tip to make this thing chop, or I gotta spin this fast. But I am getting a couple more of those 8-to-1 heavy big reels. Tatulas. I like the Tatulas. There's other brands out there, but I stick with Daiwa, Shimano. I'm not associated with it at all. just telling you what I do. And I like the feel of it. It's a little heavier than some rods, but I like feeling a heavy, full, solid connection. It's kind of like a big power tool. You know, you're gonna go get a cheaper Ryobi brand or something, or you're gonna get the big solid one that just lasts forever and it's just a workhorse. I mean, I've had some other workhorse reels in my life. This was the old, if you guys can find these, I'm not gonna get into past history. This one's, the drag's shredded on this, but I've got a couple of these old Shimano 300s. They're great. Another reel that I would recommend too, and this one's got toast from being in the salt water too much, is the Shimano Tranx 300. It's solid. Like, you want that solid feel, because I'll tell you what, man, when you get that fish on of your life or whatever it is on a big bait, if you've got a big solid connection, you're just pulling them in effortlessly, and it just feels good. It feels right, and it's not like he's got you, you got him kind of thing. Well, I guess I keep it going. I have been, haven't really been doing much with the line through baits here. Still using a Lamiglas, the old school big bait special, the old 807. If you're doing big line throughs like this 9-inch bait, I like a rod that doesn't, it's kind of got a slow bend in it. This one basically is bends at about 35-40% is where the bend starts to come down. And it's almost like someone tells you about a crankbait rod or a chatterbait rod. You want something that you can, the big fish, and you have to take this huge piece of plastic in their mouth, and you want them to eat the whole thing before you really jerk on it. And look at here, this one, I just noticed I don't even have a BKK hook on. That's an old owner hook, which is fine, but I'm gonna swap that one out too. I do like, and another thing is I like the split ring on here versus tying direct to the hook. I like to put a split ring there. Reason is when the bait is pushed down into here, when a swim bait on a big giant line through, still, these things still catch them, guys. So once you put this hook in, right, when I pull that down, if you notice, that split ring is kind of stopping the hook from digging down into the bait. If I tie directly to that, after a long cast, the hook might look something like this, where it's kind of pushed and it's not in position. But if I put that split ring there, it keeps it just in the right position and keeps the hook kind of away from the bait, so I get a little bit better hookup ratio. Of course, you always want to put a little, get a couple paper clips or something, chop them up so you can pin the hook there once these baits get torn up. But that's just a whole nother tip. That's a whole nother thing. Again, big reels, big baits, guys. I hope that I didn't get too carried away and that you guys kind of got some tips out of that. And don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate it. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Later.